What was the focus in the off week? What did you really kind of hone in on with your guys?
We worked really hard on basics, tackling, getting off blocks, and quite frankly, just, playing football. We had some things we had to clean up from the last two games, and it's really hard when you don't have time because you're working on the next opponent. So we spent a good bit of time on cleaning up, little things, and we've had some guys that are, not our starters starting, and so those guys got a lot of good experience, but there were a lot to clean up. So.
What do you guys have to do defensively against a tailback like Love?
Boy, I tell you what, he's got one of the best jump cuts I've seen. He's got great vision. You have to go attack him with more than one person. I see the first person so many times miss because he's thick, he's athletic, he's got great balance. So you have to get numbers there, and I think that's the big thing. We have to get a lot of people there, and his plays that he didn't get 3+ or more was because, not necessarily always because of the first guy, but because you had the second and third guys. So I think population is critical.
You talked to us yesterday about winning the inches and how critical that's going to be against a team like Notre Dame. Just what does that entail for your unit out there?
Well, I think it starts with getting population to the ball on the running plays. You have got to cup these guys up. They got two great running backs, and if you do that, then Carr does a great job of getting them in and out of different plays. So you have to defend the run, which we always will try to do well, and then you got to be able to mix it up a little bit coverage-wise.
What makes Carr effective as a passer?
I think he's got great velocity on the ball. I think he throws as well from one hash to the far sideline as anybody I've seen, especially, for a young age as he is. I think he's smart. I mean, I knew his grandfather, who was a tremendous coach, and hopefully I'm not as old as he is, but we're probably in the same era. But, it doesn't surprise me he's got that level of intelligence because he's a coach's family, type quarterback, and you see that in his play.
With Jaden Moore playing against Stanford, it seems like you guys are as healthy as you could probably be at defensive end. What does that do for Isaiah Neal? Is he still going to see a lot of snaps there, or what's?
Yeah, well, I think all those guys are going to still rotate in. When a guy hasn't been in for as long as he has, he's not going to go and play 60 snaps. He just can't do that. And we wouldn't do that anyway. So all those guys are going to continue to rotate. Will he get some more snaps? Hopefully.
How you guys have been banged up, obviously, but at this point in the season, as guys get healthy, how much does it help the group knowing that, hey, look, it's one thing to say next man up, but it's another thing to have that next man up come out and execute?
Sure. Well, it gives you some depth because now some of our kids who were backups have started games, and I think they go out there and they experience playing in the game as a starter in critical situations, and so when they get their time to go back in, which they always will, they've got a little more experience, so they can go out and be a little calmer and play with a little more experience.
Say like a guy like Cam Lindsey has made more progress in the last 3 games than he did in maybe the first 6 when he wasn't getting that work?
Well, between game 1 and game 2, I saw 100% improvement. So there's no doubt that being able to go out there and play a lot of snaps, get a lot of reps with the ones, and go out and sometimes fail and learn from it is a good thing. Unfortunately, you don't want to have 11 guys out there failing and learning from it. That's when it gets really tough. So, but those are things that that happen in football, and that's why teams win and lose this time of year sometimes. Just the luck of injuries or bad luck of injuries.
How have you seen your defensive leaders approach the past week and a half, just going up against a tough Notre Dame team?
We don't approach it any different week to week. So the kids are working hard. We practice physical. We practice aggressive. We work on our basics every week. And so I've not seen any difference between this week, last week, and the week before because we just go 1 week at a time. And I, being the old guy, my first goal in the morning is to wake up in the morning at my age. So when I get that, I stand up and cheer. And so it's easy for me to show them that we go 1 day at a time because you're never given a second day. Guys get injured, all those other things. So you got to embrace the day, and that's what we try to do.
When you look back on that 2023 game, what do you just remember from that Marcus Freeman team?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about my age also, is that the Alzheimer's sometimes helps you to forget or to not remember those things. So all I remember is that going out to South Bend's a neat place to play. It's a beautiful place to play, and I'll be excited to play in Acrisure Stadium this year.
Is that selective Alzheimer's? Is that how that works?
Say that again?
Is that selective Alzheimer's?
Yeah, I hope so. Some days I would say maybe not as much as others, but sometimes that's the case.
In the spring and in camp, I think you talked about your optimism about the tackles, and you felt really good about where that group is. How have they been through 9 games? Did they produce what you were hoping for?
They have. That group has rotated in. We've had some guys banged up, and other guys have stepped up, and we've just played a ton of guys. Isaiah Neal going from tackle to end to tackle and back and forth. Guys have really stepped up, and as Coach Dews would say, they played we-fence, which is, I'm doing this for the team, and I'm really proud of them for that.
Look at college game day and just the general hype and excitement around this game. Is it kind of an empty cliche to talk about having to guard against that the guys could potentially be distracted by the bright lights, so to speak, or as coaches do you have to kind of present that message to them just to keep guys on target?
Well, again, we try to go 1 day at a time. It's very hard for an 18 to 22-year-old to not look at social media. I think that's, really difficult. But, we try to take it all in stride. And, we're playing a great team. We know that. And we think we're a pretty good team, too. And so we're going to line up and see how it works.
Obviously, a couple of true freshmen have made an impact offensively. What has Sean Lee meant to your group, and where have you seen that?
Sean Lee is a tremendous asset. In the bye week, I went out to Central Pennsylvania and recruited a little bit, and I saw some of the coaches out in that area. And it's amazing. The coaches in Central Pennsylvania are not shocked a lick at how well he's done. But he's tough, he's physical, he's smart, and he's made a lot of great plays. And, last Saturday he made a great interception and touchdown. And as I watched him through camp and through the season, I'm not surprised. I'm just excited that he's making those strides.
They're retiring Aaron Donald's jersey on Saturday, of course. I mean, you didn't get a chance to coach him or coach against him, but he's here, he's around in the weight room. What have been your impressions and observations of him? Not just what you've seen him do, but also kind of the example that he sets for your guys you are coaching now.
Yeah, well, what we're going to try to do is slip him into a number and get 3 or 4 snaps out of him before they retire his number. But Aaron's a great young man. I mean, he's always been the best to me. Like you said, I have not coached him, but I've seen him in the weight room all the time, and he's engaged with our players. He's approachable. He's just a fantastic person, not just a great football player, and I'm really excited for him to get his number retired.
You point at him and say, that's what you have to do. That's how if you want to be the best, that's how hard.
I never have had to do that. Guys are smart enough to know when they watch him work. We were blessed all those years he was playing here. He'd come back here and work and lift, and it wasn't hard to see why he was the player he is. And I think it helped our players to see what they had to do to have a chance to play in the NFL.
As an older guy, how do you kind of help this team get through all the noise and the hype surrounding this game?
I feel like, we didn't have a lot of noise before the season started about us, so it should be nothing different now. At the end of the day, I feel like just for us, it's about winning every day, and it's about staying on the same approach every day. That's just being us, being Pitt football. So just because right now our record look great and everything, now the noise coming to us, it's still the same motto. Nobody know about us. Just keep working, keep putting our head down, getting better every day. We can do what we do.
important to kind of keep that chip on your shoulder, to what you're saying?
Yeah, that's important to keep that chip on the shoulder. We can never, what we call it rat poison, we can never let the media come in, obviously feed us how good we're doing, how great we're doing. And also, when you're doing bad, media, how bad you're doing out. Nobody knows it all. The only people that know stuff and that really knows everything that's going on is people in this building, and we keep it like that. So for us, it's just staying focused and just keep it one day at a time.
Is it easy to keep that chip on your shoulder when it's Notre Dame on the other side of the line of scrimmage?
I feel like it's easy to keep that chip on the shoulder when you play anybody, because at the end of the day, it's college football. Any given Saturday, somebody get beat. It don't matter who you playing. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great test this week with Notre Dame, but with anybody, it's still keep that chip on your shoulder.
Coach Bates just talked about how important tackling is and how much you guys have worked on it the past week and a half. How important is it going to be to get multiple guys in to try to stop Jeremiah Love and their running attack?
Yeah, they have a great rushing attack, but we also have a great rush defense, and we're pride on them 4 pillars in the back: attitude, effort, toughness, knowledge. And if we do those 4 things during the game, we can have a great game. Obviously, it's about wrapping up a lot of guys to the ball, a lot of hats to the ball, tag them as many times as you can each place, and make them feel us, to make them impose our will. That's the opponent. I mean, that's the thing of the game, imposing your will. That's basically what football is: impose your will on your opponent. And that's what we try to do each and every week, and we're going to try to do that this week too.
Have you learned about some of the young guys who have been forced into action maybe a little bit more than what they were expecting?
I learned that they're ready. Learned that they're mentally, physically, they're strong enough, be on that field. Guys like Josh Gary had a big PBU versus 3 weeks ago, NC State or something like that. Young guys step on that field for us, It's just Sean Lee all season step on that field, been playing great all year. So it's like, the young guys ready for more reps, and they're ready for bigger roles too in the future.
Who does their running back Jeremiah Love? Does he remind you of anybody? Like what stands out about his style, and who does he remind you of?
I mean, I feel like my time I had to play a lot of great running backs, and he's a good running back too. Another really good running back. I wouldn't say nothing particular about his style. I just think he's more a complete back. He doesn't have that many weaknesses to his game, what makes him a great player. But rushing attack is all about being leveraged, being physical up front, and then when it's time to take your shot on the player that's running the ball. So that's what we got to do: take our shots.
What sticks out about C.J. Carr, Notre Dame's quarterback, and just how the Irish like to put the ball in the air?
Yeah, they definitely like to put the ball in the air, and we definitely like to take their matchups too. You tell they're real smart coaching staff and stuff when it comes to like understanding defenses and just taking matchups. So we got a good grasp on what they want to do to us. Obviously, what they did to other teams in the past. So we just learned from that. And then C.J. Carr, he's a good young freshman, redshirt freshman. Would you say good freshman, second-year player? And he just keeps getting better every week. But I feel like to contain that, we just have to be ourselves and communicate, and we can have a great day.
After the Louisville game, the idea of game day being here and Notre, where you guys are at maybe seemed a little bit far away, maybe externally. How have you guys been able to sort of kind of put all that the bumpy September behind you and kind of get to this point?
One thing we always say is championship November, so it don't matter about the outside distractions. It don't matter about nothing. It's about going 1-0 each day, especially 1-0 every Saturday about championship November. So this was your make or break a season right here. So we worry about just playing football and getting better every day.
They have a couple big pass catchers. Malachi Fields, who you guys faced last year, 6'4".
Yeah.
Faison or Raritan, the tight end, is 6'7". I mean, how do you guys go up defending against those guys?
We understand when we watch a film what type of guys they are and how they use their body and use their levers. So we just got to counter to that. Have counters, like it's just like boxing. We got to counter. You know what the guy wants to do. We have to counter it, and make smart counters to it. So that's about watching film. Understand what counters you have to do to take them off their game. Because like you said, they're bigger guys. They can box you out and stuff. But we put good counters. We time them up right. We should have a good day. We should be good.
In an era where guys are transferring and guys are going from program to program, what's kept you loyal here, and what do you think you've benefited from that?
I think a lot of times just the culture, the people around Pitt. It's really just the people in the building. That's what kept me here. A lot of times talking to people that have transferred and stuff, it's just different when you leave. So I always felt it was just different when you here, and just different in a good way while you here. And it's not just the grass ain't always greener. So I feel like just for me it was just the culture, everybody's in the building, my coach, Coach Sanders, Coach Bates, the defensive staff as a whole, and what they preach and how we are as a defense is consistent. Consistently a good defense every year, so what more can you ask for?
You've been here 5 years. What's unique about this year's defense? What is the identity of the 2025 Pitt defense as opposed to the last 4?
To be honest, I feel like we had a lot of great defenses all my years here. I feel we had good defenses, but this year just the want to everybody. Everybody wants to go get it. Everybody ain't no sitting about watching your brother make a play. You want to go get that play. You see your brother there, but you trying to race him to make that play first. You see he right there, but you 5 yards away, but you still trying to get there first before he does. So I could be your tackle, not his. It's a want to in everybody's players, and we still play with them. We still play with them same 4 pillars too: attitude, effort, toughness, knowledge. So with that, we've been a great defense. We continue to get better each and every day.
Competition the same way in practice?
Oh yeah, always. It starts with practice. It starts through walkthrough. It just starts through walkthrough. 2 whistle drills, stuff like that. Always starts through practice.
You rattle off those 4 words back there pretty quick. Like you're not reading them off the back of the wall. They're in your head. Just
Yeah.
carry over to life outside of football. I mean, have you been able to apply that either work or school or whatever, and you feel like you can carry that beyond college?
I really do, because, I feel like it's really only 4 things you can't control in this world. It's your attitude towards things, good or bad, your effort. If you want to go all the way in and not all the way out, you're going to get the results you're going to get. And then toughness, obviously, living to stay in the society and stuff. And then knowledge, you got to be a smart person in this world. You got to be smart. You got to be. And you always got to keep growing your mind every day. You never know too much in life, so, yeah.
We were just talking to Javon. He's been here a long time, too, just like you have. What's unique about this year's Pitt defense? Like, what's the identity of this defense that maybe is different from the last few years?
I just think, the returning guys. Last year we didn't really finish how we wanted to, so we just had a lot to learn from, and we gained a lot of experience from that. And I think, the core group of guys is still the same, and, we just don't want to make the same mistakes we made last year. So I think that's kind of like a motivating factor for sure.
I've been wondering about that probably since last year. What did you guys take from that experience of losing 6 in a row, kind of going from top of the mountain to, struggle? What were your takeaways from that, or what impression did that make on you guys?
We just got to figure out a way to finish. Figure out a way how to win games. You know what I mean? Last year, all of those games at the end of the year were close, and it came down to the wire. So really just, figuring out how to finish. It's funny, dudes talked about it today, just finishing. That's the same thing we've been harping on since January, so it's definitely big for us.
Is it tough to kind of block out the noise and all the kind of extra attention that this game is getting this week?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's hard. We just got to do our best to, treat it like a normal game. Outside of game day and all the hype around it, just, holding in on the fundamentals.
Is it easier to do this older guy? Like you have to coach the younger guys to do that a little bit?
Yeah, kind of, just because, like I said, it's a lot of hype around it right now. So just honing in on, like I said, the fundamentals and, just treating it like every other game we played this year.
Jimmy, your best performance at Stanford a couple of weeks ago. Do you feel like you're sort of finally hitting that level that you want to be at this season?
Yeah, definitely. I've been coming close a lot, and it's been a struggle a little bit, as you get so close to the quarterback and everybody, wants sacks. But I just kept telling myself, just keep swinging, no matter what. And then, eventually things will go my way for sure.
Jimmy, with all the injuries you guys have had to absorb this year, especially on defense, and you look at the guys who've had to step up, kind of the epitome of next man up, just how important do you feel like that's going to be just for this program moving forward next year when you're long gone, just guys having to step up and really get thrown into the fire?
Yeah, it's super important. That's how guys make their names, Just, if a guy goes out, a guy goes down, it's literally that's how it is, the next man up. So it's just every guy's got to, take that step in preparation, throughout the week. Like, if you're not a starter, you got to prepare like one because, when one play, you could be in there, seeing significant snaps.
We saw a real small sample size of Jaden Ward in Stanford, but just from practice, what does he bring to the defensive end room?
Yeah, Javon, he's a guy, man. Like you said, you seen a small bit of it. He got hurt. I was sick for him, but I think he had 2 pressures, in 6 snaps or something like that. So I'm definitely excited to see what he can do this week.